Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Sitrep podcast. They say surprise is a key element in modern warfare, and we're going to go ahead and demonstrate that today with a surprise stream from your friend Big Jib Ariskany. And we're going to go ahead and get started with another look at People's General, great little system developed by SSI back in the late 90s, especially since the community continues to come out with new mods for this system, even to relatively recent times. So we're looking here at IDF General, that's of course Israeli Defense Forces General, for Arab-Israeli wars in the 20th century. Specifically, this is the 1956 edition, which is probably, I've tried all three. They have a 1956, a 1985, and a 2000 edition. Honestly, I think this is the best one, at least for recreations of the air quotes classic Arab-Israeli wars, namely the 1956 Sinai War, the 1967 Six-Day War, and the 1973 Yom Kippur War, Ramadan War, or October War, depending on your dog in that fight, or depending on your politics or whatever. Most people just call it the Yom Kippur War. Anyway, those are the three classic Arab-Israeli wars. Of course, there's Lebanon in '82. There's cast iron, I think, in 2001. There's another invasion in 2006 of Lebanon. There's all kinds of stuff going on. But those are the classic big four: 56, 67, 73, and 82. Honestly, I usually like to do the earlier ones, which is what we're going to be taking a look at today. Namely, the 1967 Six-Day War fought between Israel, Egypt, Jordan, and Syria, primarily Israel and Egypt, and that's what we're going to be taking a look at today. So in our chat, I see we already have some discussion here. Hello, my fellow pirate, and a bottle of rum, yo ho ho. Okay, so obviously what we're looking at there, or what people are talking about there, is we are taking a look at, we obviously paid attention to what our viewers say, and they had a recent poll on some of our platforms here on Sitrep Podcast, where people were talking about what kind of games they wanted to play, or what kind of material they'd want us to cover going forwards. Obviously, we don't just do Modern War anymore, we also do all kinds of historical, and the winner of that poll was Pirates. So while we kind of get through the last stages of 13 days to 13 hours, and we kind of finish up that project, we're going to start turning some gears toward our pirate coverage. So we may be seeing some pirate action coming up as early as this upcoming Sunday, but we're going to have to see how that goes. So for now, I know Thursday is normally the general show with Marty and G up in Chicago. Apparently there's been some conflicts with work scheduling and so on and so forth. The outside world always likes to get in the way. So they asked me to fill in. So I'm going to fill us in with a little bit of People's General starting here today. So I've gone ahead and downloaded the game, obviously, and I've built my first few scenarios. That is one small issue with this system is, at least the website that I downloaded from, you come up with all the maps. The download comes with all the maps, I should say. It comes with all the units. You just have to build your own scenarios. Which is fine. That's quite frankly my favorite part of wargaming, is building scenarios. So, or it's one of my favorite parts. So I just create my own scenarios, obviously. The one we're going to be taking a look at here is the El-Arish Jeradi Road on June 6th, 1967. Okay, so again, if you look at a map of southern Israel, where southern Israel kind of flows into the Gaza Strip and then flows further west or southwest into the extreme northern part of the Sinai Peninsula along that Mediterranean coast, you're going to see a number of towns. You're going to see obviously Gaza itself, Khan, Yunis, Rafah. Those are all the towns in the Gaza Strip. And then as you get into Egypt proper, heading towards the Suez Canal, the extreme northern end of the Suez Canal, you're going to run across these small roads, these small towns called like El-Arish and Jeradi and some others. This is that crucial northern coastal road that sort of skirts the very northern edge of the Sinai Peninsula, where we see a lot of action in 1967. So that was mostly Tal's division. Israel Tal was named the general. He commanded 82nd Armored Division, although most sources just call it Tal's division because Israeli numbering of their battalions and brigades and divisions and so on is deliberately confusing. It makes it very hard to keep track of who's what. It plays hell with enemy intelligence officers. It really plays hell with historians or historical, war gamers. So most people just call it Tal's division. Yes, we have elements of Tal's division having cleared the Gaza towns of Rafah and Khan Yunis. That's on the first day of the 1967 war, June 5th, 1967. They now turn, that should say west, they now turn west and move along the north coast of the Sinai. They are met by elements of the Egyptian 7th Mechanized Division, including the new at the time, T-55 main battle tank of 14th Armored Brigade, dug in T-34-85s. They won't really be dug in here in our scenario because I don't think the game supports that. When people are talking about dug in tanks, I mean they literally take the oldest, junkiest tanks they have, they bury them in the sand up to the turrets, and they make like improvised pillboxes out of them. It's really what you do with your oldest, junkiest, like, oh my god, like ready for the junkyard tanks. When you're kind of desperate and you have no other way to really use them, you bury them down into the ground. There will also be some IS-3s of the 1st Heavy Tank Battalion. Now, a lot of people, at least the Arab-Israeli Wars, Avalon Hill Game, and some other sources, like to call these T-10s. Most sources I found tend to call these IS-3s, or Joseph Stalin 3s. So everyone knows the Joseph Stalin 2 tank that came out at the very end of World War II, 1944 and into 55. I'm sorry, 1944 to 45. The war ends. They were just coming out with the JS-3, or the IS-3, depending. The IS-3 was running around right after the war. It didn't quite make it in the war. That's the famous pike nose tank or whatever. Now, where those tanks did see a lot of service is in the post-war period. You see a lot of Egyptians using these particularly. People who are familiar with World of Tanks are going to see JS-3s all over the place. Later on, the IS-7 or the JS-7, and finally the T-10, which is all the same number. It goes from Joseph Stalin 2 to 3 to 7 to 10. There's a 4, 5, and 6 in there, and an 8, 9 in there, but again, those are the big kind of waypoints. T-10 is almost like the Joseph Stalin 10. Arab-Israeli Wars, the war game, and like I said, a bunch of other sources always call it the T-10. I think it's really the IS-3, so I built them in this scenario as IS-3s. I'm pretty sure the IS-3 is the more reliable data point on that. Okay, so yeah, it's June 6th, 1967. This is just some of the scenario construction stuff. I kind of made everybody, let's see here. Yeah, two sides. Israel's the attacker, Egypt is the defender. They both got 20 points of air support. I really shouldn't do that. If we want to be serious about this, I'm going to knock the Egyptians down to 0, and I'm leave the Israelis at 20. Now, the reason for that, of course, is June 5th saw the complete destruction of the Egyptian Air Force. We talked about it in some of our article series. Yeah, that's what makes the 6-Day War famous, is the Israeli Air Force just kind of swarmed over the battlefield, the prospective battlefields on June 5th, destroyed in the morning, destroyed the Egyptian Air Force first, then the Jordanian, and finally the Syrian Air Force, and managed to land back home in time for lunch. So they did all that work in about 3 to 5 hours. I mean, it was insane. It's one of the most insane sort of blitzkrieg air attacks in the history of warfare. So I'm going to go ahead and knock the Egyptian Air Force down to 0. Now I'm going to make the Egyptians stronger on the ground, guys. So bear with me. So player 1, that's going to be obviously the human player, in this case the Israelis. Here's the Israeli force. We're looking at 2nd Battalion of 7th Brigade. Those are M48A2 Pattons. I've given them double stripes of experience, so they're super elite, 200 experience points. Special munitions, special ability, and anti-tank special ability. These guys are next level. Yeah, 7th Armored Brigade. If you guys read about the IDF, you read about anything in Israeli military history, certain units keep coming up over and over and over again. And yeah, this is definitely going to be one of them. We're talking about 7th Armored Brigade is some next level badasses here. Let's see who else we got here. Oops, go ahead and close that. Okay, so that's one brigade. I'm sorry, one battalion. So each unit here is roughly a company. I have some air defense. Oh no, sorry, that's enemy. We'll be back to that. Sorry about that. There's also some reserve tanks. So the Israelis live and die by their reserves, as anyone, again, who reads Israeli military history knows. They have a tiny, tiny standing army that is, up and professional and deployed all the time. And then when the shit hits the fan, so to speak, they have to immediately call up their reserves. That's because when Israel's really going to war, they have to call up every single able-bodied man and most of the women into a huge, proportion to the size of the nation, a huge armored force. The downside to that is that the Israeli economy comes to a staggered halt. Everything in Israel completely shuts down in times of war. They can't do it for very long. They have to do it for very short periods of time. Israel has to fight short wars when they're ready, not when the enemy's ready, on Israel's terms, and they have to keep the war short. That's why whenever Israel is threatened, we all hear the stories about how Israel was one tiny nation surrounded by 10 enemies or whatever. That's technically true, but also Israel starts all the wars that she's really in. That's not saying that, they're bad guys. I'm not casting any shade or judgment on them, but it's a military necessity. When your economy is the way Israel's is, and when your army is the way they are, and their strategic situation is the way it is, you have no choice. You have to throw the first punch, or you don't make it. Only one time Israel has not thrown the first punch, that is 1973 in October. That's the Yom Kippur War, and they damn near lost that one in at least a couple places. Alrighty, so so there's going to be a lot of reserve tank units as well. I'm also looking at 1st Battalion of 60th Brigade, that's commanded by Colonel Avaram. These are also super badasses. Double elite, special ammunition, anti-tank ability, also M48A2s. There's just some additional guys that were with Tal's 82nd Division. So everything here is pretty much Tal's division. We have 2 brigades of tanks that are with them. That's Avaram and that's Gonan. And then we have some reservists in here, Task Force Baron and Task Force Granite. Then we have some paratroopers that, I know I said paratroopers, but these are paratroopers in half-tracks. These are Bastogne-style paratroopers. The 202nd, I think that was Danny Matt's brigade, or it might have been Danny Matt's brigade in 1973. I might be a little bit off in my dates there. But we have Danny Matt's brigade, or maybe not. We have the 202nd Para Brigade, 3rd Battalion, 2nd Battalion, and so on. Yeah, we have some air defense. These are 20mm guns on old American World War II half-tracks. 215 Artillery Battalion. These are M50 155mm howitzers. So you see a lot of these in the IDF as well. Flames of War has a great miniature for it. And if you have an Israeli army in that period, you should definitely have one of these, at least. Even if it's only off-board artillery. This was everyone knows about the Magach tanks and all that other stuff. A huge part of the Israeli army was their self-propelled artillery. So here that's the M50. It's 155mm howitzer on an old rebuilt Sherman tank chassis. Think of it as a super priest. The M7 priest was an M7. It was a 105mm howitzer. They just upped it to a 155 and gave it a lot more ammo. And that's about it. The Israeli force is really small. Really elite, but really small. So yeah, I have 3 battalions of 202nd Para Brigade. Again, some air defense. I think they called them T-20s. That's a 20mm gun retrofitted on an M3 half-track. 215 Artillery Battalion. Yeah, we've gone through all this. And that's what we're looking at for the Israelis. Moving on to our friends the Egyptians. Yeah, the Egyptians have some pretty big numbers, and we're going to give them some hella reinforcements in just a second. Again, People's General is, a nice game, but you can only do so much with it as far as its history goes. But I do have, the 11th Infantry Brigade that was there. We have 16th Infantry Brigade in 3 battalions that was there. These are the dug-in T-34s. Again, in this game, they're not really going to be dug in because, again, there's only so much you can do with People's General historically. At least without getting into the code and all that stuff. These are remnants of the 20th PLA Division. PLA Division stood for Palestinian Liberation Army. This is not the PLO, the terrorist group. This is the PLA. PLA was borderline terrorist organization, but really it was a militia army dedicated to the reestablishment of Palestine as an independent state in those days. They did have actual divisions, although they were very poor quality. They weren't very well funded. They've already been in some very heavy battles the previous day. Again, those are those battles of Rafah, Khan Yunis, and Gaza. So that's why what we see here of the 20th PLA is really in rough shape. There's only a handful of units. Most of what you see here is not Palestinian, it's Egyptian. Speaking of Egyptians, we have 1st Company, 1st Heavy Tank Battalion. Those are our friends, the JS3 or IS3. Incredibly powerful tank, not that fast, and again, they have the basic, no experience, no special abilities, no special ammo. There's just a lot of them, and they're really, really tough. They're really, really heavy. Down here we have 2 battalions of 14th Armored Brigade. We mentioned those in the write-up. These are Egyptian T-55s. So the graphics aren't the greatest. Notice their T-55s look exactly like the JS3s. Again, it's People's General, 1997. Give it a break. But they do have T-55 stats. Lots of towed artillery. 7th Division Artillery, I have 3 battalions of that, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Tons of infantry. Remnants of 9th Infantry Brigade. Again, these are the guys that got torn up pretty bad the day before on June 5th. And, yep, there's the objective. So we're looking for, this is the Jeradi El-Arish Road that leads us southwest to northeast, roughly, along that northern coastline of the Sinai. So the Egyptian army was actually pretty tough when it comes to defense. If the Egyptian army had time to set up, had time to dig in, and as long as you attacked from an expected direction, you didn't like flank them somehow, the Egyptian army could be pretty tough in defense. So this battle is probably one of the tougher ones in the 6-Day War. One of the really the only tough battles in the 6-Day War. There was a very, very bad infantry battle on the Golan Heights. But as far as big tank artillery engagements, like major set-piece battles, how about this? How about this was the only tough Flames of War style battle in the 6-Day War? There are some pretty good bolt-action style battles in the 6-Day War in Jerusalem, along the approaches to the Western Wall, and in the Golan Heights. There was one Israeli infantry battalion that damn near got wiped out against some Syrians. But as far as big mobile tank battles, like the kind of stuff you do like in Flames of War or Team Yankee, the Jeradi El-Arish Road was really about it. Abu Wagila was a little tough, but again, the Egyptians got outflanked. Here you'll notice there's no real way to outflank the Egyptian position. This area down here is all very, very rough. It's next to impossible to move through. So I'm not going to be messing with any of that. So the Egyptian army has a pretty narrow front. They're able to set up an echelon defense in multiple layers. They're very difficult to outflank. This is going to be a little bit of a brawl. Really the only edge that the Israelis had here was, of course, vastly superior tank crews. And they did not have better artillery. They did not have more artillery. Their infantry was very, very poor, or very, very few. And what infantry they did have didn't have the best infantry weapons. Israeli infantry is not that good, guys. I'm sorry. They're mostly armed with FNs and submachine guns, the early Uzis, whereas everything in the Egyptian army is armed with AK-47s, PKs, RKMs, RPGs later on in 1973. Egyptian infantry is nothing to mess with in Arab-Israeli wars. Their tanks are... There's many of them, and they're good models. They just have terrible crews. Whereas, of course, the Israelis are kind of the opposite. Their infantry is always, astoundingly outnumbered and pretty badly underarmed. It's just their tanks that carry them. And, of course, the Israeli Air Force. The Israeli Air Force is what I'm counting on to kind of crack through a lot of this Egyptian force. Alright, so I'm not really going to make any changes. We're going to go ahead and play this game. And what we're going to do is we're going to set the Israelis as the human player, obviously, the Egyptians as the AI player, and we're going to give the Egyptians a 25% bonus to their prestige. Prestige is kind of the currency in this game. This is how they're going to leverage reinforcements. Basically, I want to go up against more cannon fodder. We're giving the AI an advantage in just numbers of reinforcements and troops and replacement units that they're going to be able to bring in. So I don't know if this is going to give the AI like more starting numbers, or if this is going to allow them to repair their units faster or bring in different units later on in the game. So we may see some crazy Egyptian units that had nothing to do with what I just showed you, with the historical makeup of what was left of the Egyptian 7th Mechanized. Because now the AI has an additional, 25%. I think that's like 1,250 points that they can spend on God knows what. I might see T-62s in here, or who knows what else. So again, guys, if we run into something that's really crazy historically, it's not my fault. I'm giving the AI some additional points, and who knows what the AI is going to spend them on. So again, human player for the Israelis, AI player for the Egyptians, 25% bonus prestige for the Egyptians. Let's go ahead and play and see what happens. Alright, let me check both my streams here, make sure I'm not missing any comments. Alrighty. So again, I'm the Israeli player. Now, in previous kind of playthroughs of this game, one thing I've tried to do is take 60th Brigade here under Colonel Avram and swing them around and try to turn the Egyptian flank through this narrow point in the rough terrain. Dude, that does not work. I can't remember. It takes like 6 turns for my tanks to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hexes through this very, very difficult terrain. So I'm not even going to mess with it this time. You'll notice all the Egyptian forces are gone. That's because I can't see them yet. The game, of course, has a fog of war mechanic. I do see some remnants of 20th PLA Division, some 57mm anti-aircraft guns towed with trucks. So there's a tiny little outpost there. I'm going to go ahead and overrun that pretty quickly. I'm going to do that with ground units and clear out that air defense before I send in any of my Air Force. I mean, why send in my Air Force against anti-aircraft? I doubt that 57 is going to hurt my air missions, but why risk it? So, 7th Brigade, Colonel Gonin. Gonin gets hella promoted after this war. He winds up commanding the entire Sinai, 3 divisions in the 73 war, just 6 years after this one. That's a huge jump for anyone not in the military. He went from like a colonel commanding a brigade to lieutenant general commanding a corps. That's like 4 levels in 6 years. Alright, so the computer's predicting us to hit 4 enemy units and only take 0 losses ourselves. Let's see if that holds up. Oh, a little bit less. Let's send in some more stuff. Send in some paratroopers. Run away! Mop it up. That was easy. Let me turn up the sound effects a little bit. I want the music to be kind of loud, but I want to hear the explosions pretty well. Okay. Keep 7th Brigade together. Let's get 60th Brigade going. Again, I'm not going to go down into this wilderness down here. There's no payoff down here. If you sent your tanks into this, batch of rough ground, you would literally never see them again. So I'm not even going to mess with that. M60A2 is one of my favorite tanks of the Cold War period. Sorry, what did I say? M48A2 is what I meant to say. In past streams and also in op centers, I have highly recommended the book Heights of Courage by when he wrote the book, he was a brigadier general. When the events of the book took place, he was a lieutenant colonel in the 73 war. That's Avigdor Kahalani. He wrote The Heights of Courage. If you play Team Yankee, especially if you play Oil Wars or if you play anything in Fate of a Nation, you really, and I'm not kidding here, you have to read that book. Harold Coyle, when he wrote Team Yankee, just straight out put it in his foreword. He's like, I got almost all my inspiration from Heights of Courage. So Harold Coyle, of course, was a real-life tank commander. I think he wound up as a major, so just short of a battalion commander. But he never really saw that much combat, being mostly in the 1980s. But Kahalani is the real deal. He commanded 77th Tank Battalion, 7th Tank Brigade, or Armored Brigade on the Golan Heights. He's the guy who gave the Valley of Tears its name. He basically destroyed, good God, half of the Syrian 9th Mechanized Division. Again, for people who know, for a battalion commander to take on a division and pretty much win, that's insane. I bring all that up because Kahalani, 6 years previous, as a captain, commands one of these companies of M48A2s. I'm pretty sure he worked for Gonin in 7th Brigade. He later commanded a battalion in 7th Brigade in the 73 war, where he becomes hella famous. He's probably the most celebrated tank commander since 1945. And you know what? If you ask me, he outstrips most World War II tank commanders. He is the genuine friggin' article. He is, I'm not even kidding around about that. Avigdor Kahalani, Heights of Courage. So he wound up writing 3 books. He went back and he wrote about this battle here along this road, the El-Arish Jeradi Road, as a captain in an M48. He got pretty badly wounded. I think the hydraulic fluid in his M48 caught fire. They called it cherry juice. It was one of the many weaknesses of the Patton design. And then later, he commanded a division in 1982 Lebanon, and didn't have too many nice things to say about the IDF. He was very frustrated in that war. Oops. Alright, this guy is going to go ahead and... Oops. Oh, I don't have any vehicles for them, huh? Alright. Oh, I do have vehicles for them. Alright. Alright, so that's pretty much the Israeli turn. We overcame that one little point there. We don't really see much else. I'm going to go ahead and see what the Egyptian player does in response, and yeah, let's see if they attack us. Historically, they really shouldn't. Tactically, they really shouldn't. But again, AI, who knows what he's going to do? Oh, there we go. Oh, they are attacking us. How do the Egyptians have air support? I took away their air support. Oh well. Egyptian artillery, nothing to mess with. Tank battle. These look like those IS-3s versus my Pattons. Oh, those are my Pattons. Oh no, those are my reservists. They just got taken out. Defensive artillery support. Oh man, the Egyptians are coming for real. They're gonna wipe out more of my infantry. Oh my god, I'm gonna actually lose a unit here. Please be done. Stop hurting me. Oh, Lord. So I don't know if you saw it in the animation there. They had Egyptian infantry coming up in BTR 60s. BTR 60 is something you see a lot of in the Cold War period. Obviously, not that hard to figure out. It's the predecessor to the BTR 70 that's much more common in Team Yankee. BTR 80 in more modern conflicts nowadays, they have the BTR 4 or the BTR 92 with this special turret on top, all this other stuff. But classic Soviet era Cold War infantry carrier is the, or troop carrier, is the BTR 60, 8x8 wheeled tactical vehicle. A lot of those in the Gulf War too. Holy crap. Millions, not millions, but thousands of those freaking things. Oh my god. Okay, so I'm calling in some air support. Because, yeah. I really need 50%, huh? Uh-oh. A4 Skyhawk. That didn't do very much. Holy crap, that Egyptian artillery has a long range. Oof. Okay, you know what? I'm calling in more air support. IDF, baby! Alright, my units that are about ready to die here, I'm going to go ahead and build them up. If I possibly can. Alright, so what else am I going to do here? Those T-34-85s don't hold up too long against double elite M48A2s. That's for damn sure. Alright, I did lose one entire company. I lost all of Task Force Baron, I'm sorry to say. So I still have Task Force Granite left. Here comes the rest of Averum's brigade that's hopefully going to redress the situation along my right wing there. I'm sorry, my left wing down there in the south. Alright, let's go ahead and move some guys around here. Yeah, those two T10... now the game's got me calling it T10s. Those two... those are T55s. I haven't even run across the T10s yet. Oh no! Alright, we gotta seriously counterattack here on the Israeli left. Let's see if I can get around behind them. That was bloodier than it should have been. Shermans, finish them off. You got to remember, a Sherman, when it comes to the Israelis, that means something different. Shermans for the Israelis can mean some next level stuff. They come out with the Super Sherman, and then the M50 Sherman. That kind of is the Super Sherman. The M51 Sherman, which was just this absurd upgrade, especially by 67. So by 1967, the Sherman is no longer the poor little tank that gets picked on by Panthers and Tigers in in the Bocage anymore. The Sherman is nothing to mess with. Unfortunately for the Sherman, it's also up against T-55s by 73, and yes, they did fight T-62s. You're up against some insane stuff later on in the war. Those guys are in bad shape. Can I build them up at all? You know what? I'm just going to have them fall back and take this objective hex in my rear. I'm trying to make sure that this remnant tank force can't wipe out this 2nd Battalion of this 202nd Brigade. I'm trying to save them. Oh no! Undo that. That's not what I meant. Okay, cool. Yeah, so these paratroopers should technically be in half tracks, but the game didn't really have it available. The only thing they had available for paratroopers was engineers, Israeli engineers, and that's not really what they were. They were supposed to be paratroopers. So I had to kind of settle for trucks. Again, People's General, there's only kind of so much you can do with some of the history. Alright, so that's going to wrap us up for turn 2. The Egyptians are coming a lot harder than I thought they would. And again, I think that's because I gave them that bonus, and they probably just built a crap load of stuff, and they're now just bum rushing me. So who knows, guys? We may end up losing this battle, but let's see what happens. Again, where are they getting this air support? I gave them 0 air support. I don't understand that at all. I gotta do something about that Egyptian artillery. More BTR-60s. So for those of you who are coming out with us today, I super appreciate it. I know it's kind of a weird hour. Again, I'm just trying to cover for G a little bit. Our normal audience probably isn't what it used to be, or what it normally is, because again, we're, most of our UK audience is already asleep by this point. All right, now that I've taken another objective hex, that should have given me some prestige. I hope I can rebuild that 2nd Battalion 202nd to a little bit better, little bit of a better state now. So Alt R. Still only to 4? Oh my god. Maybe because they're so expensive. The R is really paratroopers after all. Okay, I gotta do something about that Egyptian artillery. So here we go. You know what? Use my air assets. Recon. I'm going to fly them down this road, and hopefully they'll detect any more tanks that might be guarding the flanks of these 2 artillery batteries. Oh yeah. There they are, some bitches. Still going for them though. I gotta knock out these guys a little bit. There we go. Now notice I'm not too worried about attacking Egyptian infantry with my Israeli tanks. That's because this is 1967. Homeboy, do not do this in 1973. You will have what the IDF calls, to this day, Black Monday. Don't do it. Egyptian infantry will chew you to bits. Ever see a turtle dropped in an ant pile? That's your Israeli tank force amidst Egyptian infantry in 1973. the Egyptian infantry completely turned around in 73. And by then they had the RPG, they had the AT-3 Sagar missile. Black Monday is the third day of the Yom Kippur War. Pretty much the entire Sinai Armored Division of the IDF, Gonan's entire tank force, advanced to engage the Egyptian army that had just crossed the Suez Canal and dug in on the far bank about 5 to 10 kilometers in. And behind that were Egyptian tanks. And the Israelis went to punch through the Egyptian infantry to engage the Egyptian tanks on the far side and have their big classic IDF tank battle. The entire Israeli tank force was destroyed. 300 tanks went in. Depending on who you read, somewhere between 50 and 10 were left by the end of the day. A lot of those were repaired the next day, but that whole armor division basically died in one day. They never saw an Egyptian tank. They never got through the infantry. So what I'm doing now in 67, don't do this in 73. You can do it all day in 67, just don't do it in 73. So I give them a few more points and then don't understand how they get air. Well, here's the thing. I gave them 25 extra points, 25% extra points, but 0 air support. So unless they bought those air units as part of their order of battle, which isn't really how air support works in this game, I guess it's, I don't know. I'm not really an expert on People's General. I am anticipating we're into a lot more infantry, a lot more artillery and tanks, but that air support really shouldn't be. That doesn't come out of the same pool, to my knowledge. We kind of went over that earlier in the stream, but hell, what do I know? But I set them at 0 air support points. I gave them the additional 25% ground assets to sort of balance that out. I'm trying to recreate the conditions on day 2 of the 6-day war, after the Egyptian Air Force was pretty much smoking wreckage. But I may have not done that correctly in the game system, to be honest. Alright, so let me go ahead and attack with the rest of my force here. I'm pretty much done with Gonan's Brigade, 7th Armored. I'm going to go ahead with Avram's 60th and try to clear out the rest of this, what is that? I don't even know what that is yet. I hope that's not a I hope that's not an IS-3. Let's find out. Nope, that's more T-55s. I'm saving my artillery to mop up the rest of that Egyptian infantry, which is why I'm not prepping this attack with tanks. I'm also trying to spare any more of my reservist Shermans, Super Shermans, M51 Shermans, from fighting any more T-55s. I've already lost one whole task force to that, and I'd rather not clean that up. Notice I'm trying not to leave my tanks adjacent to enemy infantry. It's letting me attack again? Okay, I'll take it. So that at least they have to come at me in order to engage me. And then I literally just did that wrong. Thank you for letting me do it. Alright, this artillery is going to hopefully finish this dude off. Peace! Move that artillery up because I want it to be available in case any of these guys attack my force coming up. Ooh. I probably shouldn't have done that. Oh no. There's still a little remnant of T-34s down here. Oh no. I'm really stupid. Oh, I got away with it. Totally got away with that. Might not get away with that. I may lose my air support, my air division, my air defense there. I was hoping to rebuild them this turn, but I kind of screwed up my turn sequence. That infantry can't go too far, but... Alright, I think that's all my units. So Commando Solo 193, that's a good question. In fact, you may be right. I just don't think that air support comes out of the same budget. out of the same resource pool. I could be wrong about that. Oh no! Yep, sure enough, I lost them. Damn it. That's my fault. Oh, come on. Oh no, I'm gonna lose this game. Oh my god. Oh no. I lost a battalion of my super, or a company of my super elite tanks. Get back in that objective X. How long range is that artillery? Oh my god. That's horrifying. Sweet. Alright, that cleans up my rear area, which, again, that's kind of my fault. Control R, no, alternate R. It's still not letting me rebuild those guys very well. Alright, no worries. Alright, there's a major tank battle along my right wing now that I've actually lost some pretty heavy units in. Oh, come on! That's what I get for not sending in air support or air recon first. Come on, dude! You know what? I'm gonna rebuild this dude. How about it, guys? Can I please? Thank you so much. Thank you for cooperating. Oh no, I might lose this battle. I know I keep saying that, but I really mean it. Nice. That helped. Alright, I gotta call in an airstrike. I gotta do something about some of these tanks. But airstrikes haven't been doing very well against tanks this game. I don't think that did anything. And now I don't have enough for defensive fire support. Alright, that's... That 25% may have been a touch much, guys. I may have kind of screwed myself on that one. But, hey, let's see. And apparently it's raining. Alright, so again, we're using People's General, which is an operational level war game, a scale 3 on the Oriskany scale, a scale 3 game, in a scale 2 kind of a battle. So each turn is like a day and a night. Really, this is all happening, historically, this battle's all happening within like 12 hours. But this game is going to basically stretch that over 5 days. So you notice it already says June 8th, and the weather's going to change a lot more frequently than happens in the real battle, because again, in the real battle, this all took place 8 to 12 hours. But again, it's fine. We're just having fun. So no air support this time, I'm happy to say. Can I call in air support? Bad weather units are significantly reduced in effectiveness. Alright, I will save my money then. Damn it! I'm really trying to shut down that Egyptian artillery. I'm surprised I didn't catch defensive fire on that from these two artillery batteries. They may be running low on ammo. I'll use my reservists to mop up this last little batch of 1st Battalion, 16th Infantry Brigade. That frees up my Pattons to do something more productive. Save that. Yeah, you better run. Boom! Speaking of prestige, do I have much of my own? I don't think I do. But, chat. I don't want chat, I want to buy some units. Up requisition unit. I have 108 points. So not enough to buy anything useful. Yeah, so to answer let me get that name right. Commando Solo 193. Am I getting that right? Yeah. They may be buying these. That's probably where they're getting their air support from. That's okay. That's just not usually how I see air support in these games. Usually that's an air mission that doesn't cost you points out of your prestige. It's like an external support asset that you have a certain priority, and that's going to depend on, the weather and, how high your priority is in the army as far as other operations going on in the broader battlefield. But I guess you can also just buy it straight into your order of battle, which if you get a 25% raise, you might be tempted to do. So that's probably, that's actually he's probably exactly right about that. Alright, so this guy didn't do anything. He's also very weak. I'm going to try and buy some points. Yeah, he didn't. Now, what did that do for my prestige? 108. Okay, so this game, this mod, I should say, IDF 1956, apparently handles replacements differently than other mods. So I can only increase by 1 point per turn, but it doesn't cost me anything. So, whatever. Alright, so no airstrikes, Egypt, because it's a rainy day, so stop it with the air support. What the hell? It's really annoying. Thank you. Alright, I'm going to try and resupply this artillery battalion. Only 2? Yeah, this game does things a little bit differently. More realistically, I'll give them that, but kind of annoying. That is 1st Company, 1st Battalion, 14th Armored Brigade. Okay, those are going to be T-55s. Yep. Alright. So T-55s versus Shermans. I'll do that second. I'll do this first. It kind of matters in this game what order do you attack units in. It's a holdover from the old Panzer General generation games, where you can reduce entrenchment levels and things like that. So not only is he down an extra couple of points, but his entrenchment level is down. But I'm still going to take some losses here when I engage generally more modern tanks, T-55s or T-55As, against old Super Shermans, M51 Super Shermans. Run away! Nice. Are you running this in compatibility mode? I am running this. Let's see. I don't have the link available right now. What I'm running it in. I should say where I downloaded it from. The mode, I can say this much for sure. How about I just answer more honestly? I don't know. Has the brutally honest answer there. Oof. How about we don't do that? So what was I going to say? It does not require any kind of a shell. It does not require any kind of a defend or a DOS box or anything like that. The website that I download these from, you literally can just download the exe file. Obviously, make sure your virus protection is up to date, and it'll run right out of your games folder, out of your C drive. So there's no, I don't know if that means compatibility version. I guess so, because it's compatible with Windows 7. Yes, I do still run Windows 7 because Grognard. Alright, and maybe turning this around a little bit. Yeah, I kind of ate shit on that. With those 2 infantry units engaged, when I give the Egyptians the first swing, that's gonna give them a little bit of a worse attack, a little bit of a worse, or I should say better for them, worse for me. A little bit of a stronger attack. But my artillery is at least partially replenished, so bombard these fools. That made a hole. Oh, come on, dude. What's the weather like? It seems to have cleared up a little. These airstrikes aren't doing me very much good, but for now, against soft targets, I already have the enemy spotted. In other words, he already has a number underneath him. I already know he's 3rd Battalion, 7th Divisional Artillery, 7th Division's Artillery, 3rd Battalion of that regiment. So I'm hoping that I get a. It's only going to give me 2. What the hell? And I only got 1. Oh well. What the hell? That I didn't do any damage against that artillery? Oh my god. That was atrocious. Come on, man. That's a little more like it. Okay, so I know it seems like I'm a little obsessed with Egyptian artillery. I don't like Egyptian artillery. People who know this system know that artillery will, as long as they have ammunition, will continue to give defensive fire support against any friendly, or I should say in support of any enemy unit in range that you attack. So if you attack, a line of infantry, like 4 or 5, little units, and there's a good set of artillery behind him, and he's got plenty of ammo, he can fire in defensive support against all your attacks. He'll burn through his ammo hella fast, but it's rough. And I know just because I designed the scenario that the Egyptians are going to be using, some pretty serious artillery, mostly Soviet secondhand D-30 122 millimeter howitzers. So yeah, pretty good artillery. They have, as you've seen in the game, pretty decent range. I'm not too happy about that. Send the infantry down the road to scout, because my air support is not doing so hot. I'm hoping I kind of broke the Egyptians here. Because I won't lie, my own force is not looking too good. For all I know, there's one little random unit of guys out here stealing my objective X's. That's going to make me angry. But there's the edge of the map, guys. Those 3 objective X's are all that's left. Objective, objective, and objective combined with supply. Back after feeding the troops. Cool. Yeah, Rasmus, glad you're back. We're getting the hell kicked out of us a little bit here. I mean, we are making progress. We're almost down the road here to the Jeradi Pass. This is kind of the Jeradi defile that you read about in Tal's book and also in Avigdor Kahalani's book. This is where he actually got wounded when his M48A2 caught fire, historically. And yeah, I've taken some losses. I've lost one whole battalion, or I'm sorry, one whole company of Godin's battalion. Not too happy about that in the least. But anyway, let's go ahead and start the turn. So our game obviously has already gone a little off the rails as far as history goes. That's kind of the point of a war game, obviously. With the Egyptians having such a decent presence in the air. Night and rain, so I'm not going to be able to send too much air superior or air recon down here. Oof, we got away with that. So I was nervous about doing that because I didn't know if there was anything in here when I set the tanks in there. If you send any kind of a unit and it's just kind of like running down the road and it runs into an enemy unit that you didn't have previously spotted out of your fog of war mechanic, the enemy gets like a free shot. It's like an ambush attack. And it's not pleasant. So I'm going to kind of not rush up here, but I'm going to get a little hasty. Because I'm trying to... It looks like the Egyptians are more or less, if not broken, definitely off balance. And I want to take advantage of that. He's a little exposed up there, I won't lie, but it doesn't look like the Egyptians have that much left. They're not doing anything. Last turn of the game, it looks like I'm going to run out of time on this, guys. It's already turned 9 out of 10, and I still have 3 whole objectives to hexes to take. I don't think I'm going to make it. but who knows? Alright, I'm going to send infantry forward. Oh! Oh no! Heavy tanks! More heavy tanks. T-55s. T-55s. Oh, these are T-55s he bought. You'll notice it does not have a unit designator in there, like 2nd Battalion, 16th Tank Brigade, or whatever. That's because these are the not the units I assigned in the scenario design, but units that he bought, the AI bought with his. No, do not do that attack. All right, so I'm going to send in my last airstrike here, pretty much. Now I only have 5. I had 10 before, and I didn't use any. Oh no. Alright, the hell with it. I'll send an air reconnaissance strike. See if I can steal something down here. Not looking forward to engaging those T-55s or those T-10s. Now the game's got me doing it. JS3, sorry. 2nd Company, 1st Heavy Tank Battalion. Those are JS3s. IS3s if you prefer, whatever. Depends if you use the Latin or the Cyrillic spelling of the word. Doesn't matter. Oh man, I'm gonna get the shit kicked out of me here. Oh no! Are you out of ammo, dude? Seriously? Ugh. He's got 1 ammo thing left, which means when the enemy counterattacks, I won't have any. I won't have any ammunition to defend myself with. He's got some ammo left. At least the enemy has no more artillery support. I'm sick of that stuff. Alright, I'm not going to send my reservists into this X, because they're down to 50% strength. They're going to get counterattacked by T-55s, T-55s, and JS-3s immediately after that. They are not going to survive that action. That's not going to do anything. What the hell? Pretty sure I'm going to run out of. Pretty sure I'm going to run out of time in this game anyway. Sitrep podcast. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, we're on lunch break. Cool. The south objective with the reserves. Yeah, I guess I should have. Let me send my artillery down there. Although that's kind of stupid. I think I've already lost that one. But who knows? Rasmus, that was probably a good idea. I probably just saw it a little too late. Because I don't think I'm going to crack this one in time. Oh no, they're going to attack my reservists anyway! There go my reservists! No! Oh, there was more Egyptian infantry hiding out in the bush down here. Okay, so here's Israeli turn 10 out of 10. I'm pretty sure the game's going to call me the loser. Because... out of ammo, because of course you are. Because I only have... I don't have all the objectives. Damn it, there's... What?! Is that what I think it is? ISU 152? That's not fair! You know what that is? That's revenge for the ISU 152s I use against Gianna in the Prokhorovka game. Oh, game, why did I give you 25% bonus? You're destroying me with it. Oh, come on, man. This is th th this is a mockery at this point. Oh, everything sucks all of a sudden. Oh God, no. I'm gonna win some moral victories here. Let me guess, you're out of ammo? Oh, you got some ammo left. I'm gonna at least destroy some of these tanks. And that's the other group of JS3s. JS3s and ISU 152s. Man, that is a nasty combination. That's what happens when you give the computer a 25% raise. Don't do it, folks. The computer will punish you for it. Oh, hell no. This is going to be a disaster. 1 and 2. I won that one a little bit. Yeah, but I'm not going to shift them out of there, at least not in one turn. I'm not even going to reach this one down here, because this guy kind of bailed out. And he intercepted my artillery halfway down. My self-propelled artillery, which is now out of ammunition. This guy's almost out of... he's down to 40% strength. Okay, let's just go ahead and hit play and finish the turn. Or finish the game. Eastern loss. I think that just gave me the win. I'm going to have to check that and see if it counts me as the Western player. I think it does. I think it considers me the winner because I captured 2 of his objective hexes and he captured none of mine. I didn't capture all of his, but I captured 2 of them. So I'm going to go ahead and see if that is correct. Yeah, there was a full infantry unit down there, remnants of the 9th Infantry Brigade, more remnants of 9th Infantry down here in the desert. Was he making an end run toward any of my objective hexes? No, no, no. These poor guys. Yeah, I was close. Alright, so obviously I didn't take all the objective hexes, and I kind of got the hell kicked out of me, really, honestly. As far as getting my teeth kicked in, trying to come in the front door there. But let's see here. Design the scenario. El-Jeradi Road. Israelis are the Western player. Set as Western side. Okay, so the computer calls that an Israeli win, which I'll go ahead and take it. But that was a sloppy win. One thing I may have forgotten to do is save it. So yeah, see there are the 20 air support points for the Egyptian player. I thought I knocked that down to 0. I may have forgotten to save it. And that's where that Egyptian air support may have come from. So I may have just screwed up and not saved it right. All right, folks. So we've been up now for about an hour and 18 minutes. Oop, hold on, let me get out of here. Do I still want to exit? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Okay, guys, so let me take a look here. Where are the Israeli commandos? The Israelis don't have commandos in 67, at least not on this battle. Walkabout Games, hello, Chris. To answer Sitrep's podcast question, we did have, I kind of took heavy losses with them, Israeli paratroopers, 202nd, 202 Brigade of Israeli paratroopers. Now, those are paratroopers that are in half-tracks. The game only allows me to give them trucks, so I don't think they're quite as powerful as they should be. But again, the forces that I had earlier in the stream, I think you weren't on lunch hour yet, Sitrep podcast, were the ones that were available to General Israel Tal's 82nd Armored. Usually they just call it Tal's Division, along the Jeradi El-Arish Road, 6 June 1967, second day of the 6-Day War. Cool. So yeah, thanks very much for coming by, everybody. We're going to go ahead and wrap up Mr. Stream here. So like I was saying before, we are going to be live as always on Sunday. Today's stream does not replace Sunday's stream. It's just a supplemental stream to kind of cover the schedule a little bit, for some scheduling conflicts. But anyway, so glad you guys could come out. I actually got, pretty decent audience for this kind of a weird hour and this weird time. Again, most of our viewers are in the UK and Europe. They're already asleep. No worries at all. So we definitely stream today, obviously. We are still on for Sunday. Sunday, in fact, we are going to try some no more computer games. We're going to try some actual tabletop pirate action. We're going to try Letters of Marque. It's an old game that was developed to kind of support WizKids. They used to have these little, you buy them by the cash register in gaming stores. It has like these little like cardboard fit them together kind of pirate ships. Back in the day, you guys probably remember those from like 10, maybe 15 years ago. Some people have developed some actual tactical war games for those, not just the collectible card game. So we're going to go ahead and try that. We've got like 3 players lined up for that already. So that's going to be a live game, no AI. We're going to be playing against actual opponents. The game is really, really simple. It's really kind of fun. Definitely kind of a beer and pretzels game. But the reason we're doing that is because we've done some really heavy Panzer Leader stuff lately. We're going to have some pretty heavy 13 days to 13 hour stuff coming up. And in the middle of all that, we wanted to have a little bit of levity. And also, you know, the people have spoken. Our Facebook poll had pirates as our next big topic. So I want to at least put some pirate content on the channel before people think that we're not paying attention to what they say in the polls. So yeah, we're going to be seeing some pirates on Sunday, if all goes well. I have to actually build that game, as you know, tabletop-wise, in sort of a virtual environment. But it shouldn't be too hard. I've read the rules. It's really, really simple. And we have like 3 players already lined up for it. So yeah, Sunday's going to be a blast, guys. It's going to be a lot lighter, live opponents. You know, kind of fun content as far as, you know, subject matter. Yeah, that's going to be great. Jim, it's grog, not beer. Did I say beer? Sorry about that. Oh, beer and pretzels game. Gotcha. Okay. Grog and biscuits game. How about that? Something like that. Letters of Marque. Yeah, remember the ships I used to sell them in our store? Yeah, so I can't remember the gentleman's name. Somebody has written a very light rule set to use with those. So we're going to go ahead and try that out and see how it goes. I don't foresee any problems because, again, the game reads really simple. If we have any problems, it's going to be because the game is too simple. But it doesn't look like it. It looks like it's going to play well for at least a couple days. So like I said, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the stream today. Hopefully, now that Jen kind of put that little bit of doubt in my head about this stupid tropical storm. Storm permitting, we will be with you on Sunday with some pirate action. But for now, we're going to go ahead and close out the stream. Thanks very much, everybody, for coming by and checking us out. Again, you can find us on Facebook. We're obviously on Twitch and YouTube, as you can tell. And we appreciate all your support. Like, subscribe, hit the notifications, stay safe with the masks. You guys know the drill. But for now, we're closing out the stream. Take care, everybody, and we'll be in touch with everyone very shortly. Take care, everyone.